Football is a violent sport, which is what makes evaluating players still in high school so difficult. With how prevalent injuries are at all levels, it's tough to predict who will actually make it to the NFL. That's what makes things like the USA Today All-USA high school football team so intriguing. These young men were among the best of the best, but many of them never found NFL greatness. Today, we're taking a look back at the 2003 USA Today All-USA team and seeing what happened to all 24 players, starting with the offense. Brian Brohm, quarterback. Brohm's older brother Jeff played quarterback at Louisville and briefly in the NFL. The younger Brohm was an absolutely dominant high school quarterback, throwing for 10,579 yards and 119 TDs over his career. He was also pretty good at basketball and baseball, and the Rockies even picked him in the 49th round of the 2004 MLB draft. Brohm decided to stick with football and sign with Louisville. He was immediately in competition with Stephen LaFours and won CUSA Freshman of the Year despite not starting a single game. Brohm threw for 819 yards and 6 TDs as the backup. If you watched the 2002 version of this list, you'll know that Michael Bush had been recruited under the guise of playing quarterback the year before Brohm got there, but Brohm was made the starter as a sophomore and Bush moved to running back, which he thankfully turned into an NFL career. Brohm threw for 2,883 yards and 19 touchdowns to win the Big East Offensive Player of the Year in 2005. He missed a bit of time in 06 with a thumb injury, but still threw for 3,049 yards and 16 scores. During his senior season, he took his game up a notch, throwing for 4,024 yards and 30 TDs. However, the Cardinals struggled to a 6-6 record, by far the worst finish of Brohm's collegiate career. The Packers picked him in the second round of the draft. He was buried on the depth chart behind Aaron Rodgers and Matt Flynn, so he never played for the team. After being waived in 2009, Brohm signed with the Bills. During his 2 years with the team, he started 2 games, losing both while throwing 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That was the end of his NFL career. Brohm spent some time playing in the UFL and CFL over the next few years, but never got much playing time. In 2016, he decided to leave his playing days behind and became the quarterback's coach at Western Kentucky, where his brother Jeff was coaching. He followed Jeff to Purdue in 2017 and Louisville in 2023, where the duo is still coaching as of 2025. Bryant is the program's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Adrian Peterson, running back. AD's father played college basketball at Idaho State, where he was a first-team All-Big Sky player in 1985. His mom reportedly scored enough points at the Texas State High School track meet to finish in third by herself in the team rankings. What I'm saying is that the chances of Peterson becoming a great athlete were very high. It wasn't all easy for the young AD though. Peterson saw his brother die after being hit by a drunk driver when he was just 7 years old. At 13, his dad went to jail for money laundering. AD turned to sports, and he dominated at nearly everything. As a senior, he ran for 2,960 yards and 32 touchdowns, averaging a ridiculous 11.7 yards per carry in football. In track, he claims to have run a 10.19 in the 100 meters and easily won several gold medals at state in 2002 and 2003. He signed with the Oklahoma Sooners for college ball. As a freshman, he exploded onto the national scene, rushing for 1,925 yards and 15 TDs to lead the Sooners to the national title game. They were trounced by Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and the USC Trojans, but most of that blame should probably go to Jason White's glass knees. He made the All-American team that year and finished in second for Heisman Trophy voting, though you'll never convince me that he didn't deserve the award over Matt Leinart. Unfortunately, the freshman tax wasn't broken until nearly a decade later, though even Johnny Manziel's win came with the red shirt caveat. Peterson appeared primed to dominate again in 2005, but was limited by a broken foot. When he was healthy, AD was still demolishing teams. He missed 4 games and still rushed for 1,104 yards and 14 touchdowns. Peterson missed even more time in 2006, playing in only 7 games after breaking his collarbone on the final drive against Iowa State after diving into the end zone following a 53-yard touchdown. At the time, he was just 150 yards short of breaking Billy Sims' all-time OU record for career rushing yards. He did play in OU's famous overtime loss to Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, but couldn't quite get past Sims' number. He decided to skip his senior season and enter the draft. The Vikings picked him 7th overall in the 2007 draft. It did not take him long to catch up to the speed of the NFL. The Vikings had him start the season as Chester Taylor's backup, but that did not last long. AD ran for 1,341 yards and 12 TDs as a rookie, setting several rookie records along the way. That includes one of the greatest performances in NFL rushing history, where he ran for 296 yards and 3 TDs against the Chargers, setting the record for rushing yards in one game. He was named to the Pro Bowl and All-Pro teams and won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Outside of a lingering fumbling issue, AD didn't really slow down over the next 3 years. He made 3 more All-Pro and Pro Bowl teams and never rushed for fewer than 1,298 yards. The Vikings were also a perennial playoff team, making the NFC Championship game in 2009. In 2011, he tore his ACL and MCL. Many thought he'd miss time in 2012, but he rehabbed his knee at an otherworldly pace and came back to start in Week 1. That kicked off the best season of his career. Peterson became the 7th player to eclipse 2,000 yards rushing in a season, falling just 9 yards short of setting the all-time record. Still, he won the 2012 MVP and NFL Offensive Player of the Year. As of the 2024 season, he is the last non-quarterback to win MVP. He had another solid year in 2013, but after the season opener in 2014, it was revealed that Peterson had been indicted on child abuse charges. He was suspended for the rest of the season and eventually reached a plea deal, which came with a fine, probation, and some community service. He was allowed back into the league in 2015. Peterson had some early struggles, but finished the season with 1,485 yards and 11 TDs to make the Pro Bowl and All-Pro rosters. He missed most of the 2016 season with injury and signed with the Saints ahead of the 2017 season. After 4 mediocre games, he was traded to the Cardinals for a 6th-round pick. He rushed for 448 yards in 6 games to end the season. AD then spent 2 years in Washington, running for 1,940 yards and 12 TDs. He did another year in Detroit before playing in 4 total games between the Titans and Seahawks in 2021. He technically didn't retire until 2023, but that Seahawks stint was his last time on the field. As of 2025, Peterson sits in 5th on the all-time rushing list and 4th on the all-time rushing touchdowns list. He is a 7-time Pro Bowl nod, a 7-time All-Pro player, a 1-time MVP, and led the league in rushing 3 times and rushing touchdowns twice. After retiring, he did 1 celebrity boxing match in 2002, losing to former NFL running back Le'Veon Bell by TKO in the 5th round. He was also on Dancing with the Stars in 2023, placing 11th. His daughter Ari has recently picked up offers to play basketball from Iowa, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. His son Adrian Peterson Jr. has been impressing in the middle school circuit, with many recruiters calling the young wideout a potential high major player. Oh, and AD's younger brother Frankie Arthur is playing football for UTSA as of 2025. Joe Casey, running back. Like Peterson, Casey was destroying teams as a senior, rushing for 2,253 yards and 36 touchdowns. He committed to Kentucky, but a combination of academic and personal issues kept him from ever attending. He did go to Coffeyville Community College to try and earn his GED, but didn't play for the football team because he had a son. Instead of continuing his on-field dream, Casey moved back home and started working several odd jobs. He tried to make a few NFL teams, but was never signed. Casey did play some in the CIFL, which is the league below the Arena League. He played well for a year, but didn't go back due to what his former coach again called personal reasons. By 2012, he was back in the game as a coach at the youth level, where he was sharing his story and stressing the importance of education. Jeff Byers, offensive line. Byers was born in Nebraska, but played his high school football in Colorado. As a senior, he racked up 203 tackles, 56 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, and 14 forced fumbles, but it was his play on the offensive side of the ball that drew in recruiters. Byers became the first non-skill position player since Curtis Bray in 1988 to win the Gatorade High School Player of the Year. He decided to move to Southern California and join the USC Trojans. Byers' natural position at center was occupied by Ryan Khalil, so he switched to left guard, playing in all 13 games as USC rumbled to a national title. Byers picked up a hip injury that needed surgery in 2005 and missed the entire season, taking a medical redshirt. He started the first game of 2006, but suffered a back sprain and missed the rest of the season. In 2007, Byers was finally healthy and started all 13 games. He came back in 2008 as a team captain and made the All-Pac-10 second team. Due to his 2 missed seasons, the NCAA granted him another year of eligibility. Byers capitalized by becoming a first-team All-Pac-10 and third-team All-American nod during his final year of college ball. He went undrafted in 2009, but was signed by his former coach Pete Carroll, who had taken the Seattle Seahawks job. He was cut during training camp and spent the year on the Broncos practice squad. In 2012, he was activated by the Panthers after spending some time on their practice squad, playing in 22 games over 2 years with 7 starts. Byers retired after the 2014 season. Soon after, he started working as a financial advisor for Wells Fargo. In 2018, he founded a sports supplement and nutrition company, which he is still the CEO of as of 2025. Kyle Mitchum, offensive line. Mitchum joined Ohio State for college ball. He took a red shirt in 2004 and spent much of 2005 and 2006 as a depth option and playing on special teams. In 2007, he was set to get more playing time, but an injury held him out of several games. He was again a backup in 2008, finishing his relatively disappointing football career. In the years since, he's done several jobs related to sales, including working in beer and alcohol distribution. As of 2025, Mitchum is working in commercial insurance in Florida. Roland Martin, offensive line. Martin played college ball for Michigan State. After taking a red shirt, he played in 7 games in 2005. Martin became the starting right guard the next season and held that position through the next 2 years. The 3-year starter was named an honorable mention All-Big Ten player during his senior season, but doesn't appear to have played professionally. By 2011, he was working in security for the Chicago public school system. He moved up to dean in 2014 and is working as the director of operations for CPS as of 2025. Leon Hart, offensive line. Hart joined a solid offensive line at Auburn for college. With guys like Marcus McNeil, Ben Grubbs, and Tim Duckworth at his position, he struggled to get much playing time, but was still a solid backup lineman for the team. After graduating with a degree in criminology in 2008, Hart eventually joined the Army. By 2014, he was working as an ammunition sergeant. In 2017, he became an Army recruiter, which he is still doing in Florida as of 2025. Aaron Klovas, offensive line. Klovas started his college career at Oregon. He decided to transfer after 2 seasons, finishing his studies at Iowa State. He got into sales soon after, working in that field back in Washington for several years. Sadly, he passed away in early 2023. Brian Toal, athlete. As a high school senior, Toal racked up 106 tackles and 10.5 sacks, while rushing for 1,063 yards and 32 TDs on offense. He joined Boston College for college ball. He was an impact player from day one on defense for the Eagles, winning the 2004 Big East Rookie of the Year and making the Sporting News' freshman All-American squad. The next year, Toal spent some time as a two-way player, racking up 53 tackles and 2 sacks on defense, while adding 56 yards and 6 TDs as a running back. He did more of the same the next year, notably getting 2 picks on defense and 6 more scores on offense. Many assumed Toal would have a big senior season, but a shoulder injury kept him out of the entire year. He got a medical redshirt and came back in 2008. Unfortunately, he broke his right fibula early in the season, ending his college career. Toal went undrafted in 2009. He signed with the Las Vegas Locomotives in the UFL and helped the team win back-to-back league titles in 2009 and 2010. He did a brief stint with the Jets in 2011, but was cut during training camp. Around that time, Toal got married to two-time Super Bowl champion Phil Simms' daughter Deidre. Since hanging up his cleats in 2011, he's been working in sales. As of 2025, he's still working in that field in New York. Zach Miller, tight end. Did you know there are 2 Zach Millers in the NFL who both played tight end? Did you know that they were born 1 year apart, are both 6'5", and were both pretty significant in the NFL during the early 2010s? Anyways, apologies if I've accidentally mixed in any of the other Miller information, but our Miller went to play his college ball at Arizona State. He won the Pac-10 Freshman of the Year award in 2004 and went on to catch 144 passes for 1,512 yards and 14 TDs over his 3-year career. He was a consensus All-American and a first-team All-Pac-10 player in 2006 before heading to the NFL Draft. After a somewhat lackluster combine performance, Miller fell to the Raiders in the second round of the 2007 draft. He made the All-Rookie team behind 44 catches for 444 yards and 3 TDs. He kept improving for Oakland, making the 2010 Pro Bowl after Antonio Gates withdrew due to injury. Miller led the Raiders in receiving from 2008 to 2010. After the latter season, he signed a 5-year deal with the Seahawks. Miller transitioned to more of a blocking role through much of his time in Seattle, helping pave the way for the likes of Marshawn Lynch. Still, he was instrumental in a few playoff runs, helping the team win a title in 2013. Unfortunately, he failed a physical in 2015 and was waived, essentially ending his NFL career. Over his 8-year career, he racked up 328 catches for 3,804 yards and 20 TDs. After retiring, Miller went back to ASU and earned his degree. He then passed the Certified Financial Planner exam in 2020 and has been working in that field to help young athletes manage their wealth in the years since. Xavier Carter, wide receiver. In addition to starring on the gridiron, Carter was one of the finest sprinters of his era. He won 9 Florida State titles in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters, dominating the sport as a junior and senior. His 45.44 second time in the 400 remains the Florida record to this day. Incredibly, his high school football teammates included future pro players Joe Cohen and Reggie Nelson. I do not envy the other teams in Florida during those days. He signed with LSU for college football and track. During his 2 years with the football team, he returned 11 kicks for 211 yards and caught 9 passes for 204 yards and 3 touchdowns. However, he was dynamite on the track. At the 2005 NCAA Men's Outdoor Track and Field Championships, he finished second in the 200 meters with a time of 20.08 seconds. The next year, he won the national title in 4 events, becoming the first person to do so since Jesse Owens in 1936. X-Man also became the first runner to win the 100-meter and 400-meter events on the same day. After racking up all those wins, he decided to forego his last 2 years of eligibility and turn pro in track. In 2006, he ran what was at the time the second fastest 200-meter race of all time with a 19.63 finish, blowing a guy named Usain Bolt out of the water. In fact, he'd best Bolt 2 more times that year, potentially adding fuel to the Jamaicans' fire for the upcoming Olympics. As of 2025, that makes X-Man the 12th fastest man in history in the 200 meters. Unfortunately, he missed a large chunk of the 2007 season with injury. Carter got healthy for the 2008 Olympic trials, setting a personal best in the 100 meters with a time of 10 seconds in the heats. He could not replicate that feat in the finals and missed out on qualifying for the 2008 Olympics. And that Bolt guy, well, unfortunately, troubles with the law basically ended X-Man's track career after that. Both of his daughters run track and seem to have inherited quite a bit of their father's speed. Connor Barth, kicker. Barth joined the University of North Carolina for college ball. He handled kicking duties for most of his 4 years with the program, making 103 of 109 extra points and 54 of 71 field goals. That included a memorable 42-yarder during his freshman season to give the Tar Heels a walk-off win against the number 3 ranked Miami Hurricanes. He made the All-ACC team in 2007 and set the UNC record for most field goals made in a career with 54. Barth wasn't drafted in 2008, but quickly signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. He spent 9 seasons in the NFL, mostly with Tampa Bay. During his career, Barth made 222 of his 224 extra points and 168 of his 203 field goals with a career long of 57. His best season came in 2012 with the Bucks, when he made 28 of his 33 field goals and never missed an extra point. He also handled kickoff duties throughout most of his career. While never a Pro Bowl or All-Pro level kicker, he wasn't half bad, though he does lack much meaningful playoff success. Barth retired in 2017 and started working in real estate. He's also worked as a professional photographer in North Carolina and started his own real estate business. Barth's younger brother Casey also kicked for UNC, breaking Connor's record for most field goals in a career with 66. Casey spent 1 season with the Falcons and another in the Arena League before retiring. And now for the defense. Ted Ginn Jr., defensive back. Ginn Jr. played for his father in high school, who himself is a high school legend in Cleveland for his track and football coaching. Ginn Jr. played both sides of the ball in high school, but won the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year after intercepting 8 passes and taking 5 of them back for scores. That included a 102-yard return to set a state record. He was also one of the fastest runners in the state, winning state titles in several events and capturing the national title in the 110-meter hurdles during his junior year. Ginn Jr. signed with Ohio State for college with the potential to play football and run track. During his freshman season with the Buckeyes, he was timed at 10.2 in the 100 meters, but put his track career on hold to focus on football. At Ohio State, Ginn Jr. permanently moved to wide receiver. During his freshman season, he caught 25 passes for 359 yards and 2 scores, adding 2 more TDs on the ground. Ginn Jr. was most dangerous in the return game, taking 4 punts back to the house to make the All-American team. He made the All-American team as a returner in both of the next 2 seasons, while consistently improving as a pass catcher, peaking as a junior with 59 catches for 781 yards and 9 TDs. He decided to skip his senior season and head to the 2007 draft. The Dolphins picked him 9th overall. Over 3 seasons, Ginn Jr. put up solid numbers in the passing game and was always a threat on returns. He was traded to San Francisco in 2010, where he played for 3 more years, largely as a backup wideout and return specialist. That would mostly be the rest of his career, outside of a 3-year stretch with the Carolina Panthers and New Orleans Saints from 2015 to 2017. He started most games during that stretch and consistently caught around 50 passes for 750 yards. Ginn Jr. had a career-best 10 touchdown catches in 2015, but never could take that step to becoming a go-to wideout. He retired in 2010 with career numbers of 412 catches for 5,742 yards and 33 touchdowns. As a returner, he added 7 more scores, taking 4 punts back and 3 kicks. Since retiring, he's been running his own skills academy. At least one of his kids is a relatively high-level track athlete. His daughter was recently named one of the top runners in her Ohio City during her freshman season. Demonte Bolden, defensive line. Bolden joined Tennessee for college after doing a stint at Hargrave Military Academy. The Big DT was solid, but not spectacular for the Vols during his 3 seasons, totaling 58 tackles and 15 tackles for loss. That was a far cry from expectations, and Bolden wasn't drafted in 2009. He spent a year playing in the CFL with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. In 2011, he joined the Calgary Stampeders, helping the team win the Grey Cup in 2014. He retired after the 2017 season and worked a few odd jobs before starting coaching at the high school level. As of 2025, Bolden is coaching and teaching in his hometown. Jeff Schweiger, defensive line. Schweiger joined USC for college ball and largely served as a backup during his first few years. Unfortunately, he missed chunks of time each season with injury and could never solidify a spot. The big guy decided to transfer to San Jose State in 2007. After sitting out a season, he had another relatively disappointing season to end his career. Schweiger wasn't drafted, but did do a training camp with the Broncos before retiring. He then got into digital marketing and recruiting. As of 2025, he's working as a senior executive recruiter for a Florida-based company. Marlon Favorite, defensive line. Favorite stayed in state to join Carter at LSU. With the Tigers, he redshirted his first season and played in only 3 games during his freshman year. He was never a full-time starter, but was heavily involved in the team's rotation, making several starts over the years. He racked up 78 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss, and 4 sacks over his career, helping LSU win a national title in 2007. Favorite was not drafted in 2009, but did sign with the Panthers. He never played in an NFL game, but spent time on practice and training camp squads for the Panthers, Rams, Chiefs, Seahawks, Saints, Bills, Colts, Patriots, Eagles, and Commanders over the years. He technically won a title with the Saints in 2009. He also did stints in the UFL and Arena League before retiring in 2012. As of 2025, Favorite is working in staffing and hosts a radio show on ESPN New Orleans. DeMario Pressley, defensive line. Pressley played his college ball at NC State. He was a consistent contributor along the lines for 3 seasons, racking up 99 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 2 interceptions. The Saints picked him in the 5th round of the 2008 draft. Over 2 years, he played in 7 games, getting 15 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 Super Bowl win. After the 2010 season, he did stints on practice and training camp rosters with the Texans, Colts, and Broncos. He played in 1 game with the Panthers in 2011 before spending his final season with the Bears. After retiring in 2012, he started up a non-profit. In 2022, he joined the board of his local YMCA, and in 2023, he founded a book publishing company focused on children's books. Willie Williams, linebacker. Williams' story is a bit of a tragic one. He was one of the best high school athletes in his class, but had been arrested 11 times before he turned 18. Those were mostly small offenses, but they set up his later tale. Williams agreed to keep a recruiting diary during his senior season, which humorously and potentially too vividly recounted his recruiting trips. He eventually signed to play with Miami, but was charged with several crimes due to his visit with the University of Florida. He didn't do any jail time for the misdemeanors. Instead, he was ordered to perform community service and was on probation for 3 years. Williams took a red shirt after suffering a few injuries during the 2004 season. He played in 10 games in 2005 behind John Beeson, impressing in his limited time and in the weight room. The next year, he decided to transfer. He tried to sign up with several D1 schools, but was turned down by the likes of Tennessee and Fresno State, so he went to Pearl River Community College, hoping to shed his baggage and get back to the D1 level. However, Williams stalled on recruiting and was eventually turned away by the program. Williams then went to West LA College. After sitting out 5 games, he jumped into the starting lineup and immediately impressed, having a solid season once he got on the field. Williams enrolled at Louisville for the fall 2007 semester. He played in 3 games before being arrested for drug possession and was kicked off the team. Williams moved to the D2 level in 2008, but his transfer was denied by the NCAA. He then went to Union College at the NAIA level, where he set a single season record for tackles with 144 and made the All-Mid-South Conference East's first team. Unfortunately, he never played pro ball and went to jail for several years in 2010 after another run-in with the law. Thankfully, since he's gotten out, Williams has turned his life around. As of 2025, he's working as a coach and personal trainer, even training celebrities like Rick Ross. Keith Rivers, linebacker. Rivers was born in California, but played high school ball in Florida. He was heavily recruited by the University of Florida, but decided to move back to his home state and attend USC for college. Nicknamed the Shark by teammates, Rivers grew into one of the best linebackers in the country by 2006, doing USC's famed Club 55 lineage proud by making the first team All Pac-10. Rivers made the list again in 2007 while adding a second-team All-American nod and became a semifinalist for the Butkus Award. The Bengals picked him 9th overall in the 2008 draft. He had a solid start to his rookie season, racking up 37 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 interception before Hines Ward hit him with a crackback block in Week 7 that shattered his jaw. That led to an NFL rule change, banning that type of block. Rivers came back to have 2 more solid seasons with the Bengals before missing the entire 2011 season with injury. In 2012, he was traded to the Giants, where he spent 2 more solid but unspectacular seasons. In 2014, Rivers signed a deal with the Bills. He started 3 of 12 games and was released after the season. The Cowboys signed him in 2015, but he was cut during training camp. Rivers retired soon after and has gotten into the world of art collecting. He owns pieces from famous artists like Andy Warhol and was a guest judge on the 2023 reality TV competition, The Exhibit, Finding the Next Great Artist. Dan Connor, linebacker. Connor was a dominant rusher and linebacker in high school, rushing for 1,807 yards and 22 touchdowns, while making 141 tackles, 11 sacks, and 3 picks during his senior season. He decided to attend Penn State for college, quickly becoming one of the best linebackers in the school's long history of great players at the position. He was a 2-time All-American in 2006 and 2007, and won the Bednarik Award in 2007 as the best defensive player in the country. That year, he also passed Paul Posluszny for the top spot on Penn State's career tackles list. The Panthers picked him in the 3rd round of the 2008 draft. That Carolina linebacking core was stacked with talent, so Connor only played in 3 games during his rookie season. By year 2, he worked his way into the rotation, and in 2010, he was a full-time starter when healthy, but did miss several games with injury. He was a steady middle linebacker during his 4 years in Carolina, which led to a contract with the Cowboys in 2012. He again missed a few games with injury and was cut before the next season. Connor signed with the Giants in 2013, but hurt his neck and was released. He signed with the Panthers a few weeks later and was a backup for 5 games. Connor wasn't signed by an NFL team for the next season and retired. Soon after, he started coaching linebackers at West Chester University. He slowly worked his way up the ranks, and as of 2025, he is working for Penn State as the linebackers coach. James Bryant, linebacker. Bryant made this list as a linebacker, but switched to fullback when he got on campus at the University of Miami. He was mostly a depth option during his Canes career, totaling 8 yards rushing and 5 catches for 70 yards and 2 scores during his 2 seasons with the team. Bryant then transferred to Louisville. After sitting out a season, the redshirt senior switched back to defense and racked up 100 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions in 10 games. He was not selected in the 2009 draft, but signed with Washington. Bryant was cut after minicamp and did some heavyweight boxing, going 4-1 in 5 matches. In 2010, he signed with the Orlando Predators in the Arena League. He played well enough there to sign with the BC Lions in the Canadian Football League in 2011, but was cut before playing it down. In 2012, Bryant signed with the Detroit Lions, but was the final cut prior to the start of the season. Bryant spent 3 more years playing in the Arena League before hanging him up in 2015. Since then, he's fallen out of the public eye. Simeon Castille, defensive back. Castille's father, Jeremiah, played in the NFL in the mid-'80s with the Bucks and Broncos, so it wasn't a huge surprise when the younger Castille became a star player in high school. He joined Alabama for college ball. During his 4-year career, he racked up 162 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, and 12 INTs. He was a 2-time All-SEC player in 06 and 07. He went undrafted in 08, but signed with the Bengals. Castille played in 8 games as a rookie, totaling 7 tackles and 1 pass defended. He signed with the Chargers in 09, playing in 1 game and accumulating no stats. Castille played in the UFL with the Florida Tuskers in 2010 and joined the Minnesota Vikings training camp and practice squad in 2011. He signed with the Virginia Destroyers later that year, helping the team win the UFL title. He spent a few more seasons playing in the Arena League before retiring in 2014. Even outside of his dad, Simeon isn't the only athlete in the family. His brother Tim played fullback at Alabama and briefly in the NFL. Simeon opened Still Academy in 2020, a facility for training athletes. He also did some acting work in the 2021 film about Kurt Warner called American Underdog. He played NFL Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce. That might sound surprising, but Castille's other brother Caleb is an actor. He has several credits to his name, but most notably has appeared in 64 episodes of NCIS Los Angeles, where he portrays Devin Roundtree. Tony Carter, defensive back. Carter went to Florida State for college. After redshirting, he quickly became a star player for the Noles, making the All-ACC second team in 05 and 06. He upped that production the next 2 years, making the first team in 07 and 08, while racking up 9 career INTs. Carter went undrafted in 2009, but signed with the Broncos. He played in 2 games that year and joined the Pats in 2010. Carter again saw action in only 2 games, and after a brief stint with the Vikings, joined Denver again in 2011. He spent 4 seasons with the team, playing in 38 games as a depth option for the Broncos. Carter spent 2015 with the Colts, playing in 3 games, and did a short stint with the Saints before retiring in 2015. He started coaching soon after, working with the Lions as a defensive assistant in 2020. Carter has since been working at the collegiate level and is the head coach at Central State, a D2 school, as of 2025. Ryan Burks, punter. Burks started his college career at Feather River Community College. In 06, he signed with Eastern Washington University, punting for 2 seasons. He did not play professionally. Instead, Burks has been working in construction in Washington in the years since. And that wraps up the 2003 squad of All USA players. I'll be back in a few weeks with the 2004 crew, but while you wait, why don't you check out this video on the 2002 squad?